This is the Steve Austin Show.
Going back to your weightlifting accomplishments, and your mother bought you your first weight set when you were about 10 years old, and you've always, your side of the family, or y'all's family had big men in it.
Oh, yeah.
But you had an uncle, Uncle Chud
Adams,
who was 6'7", about 500 pounds. I wanted to...
About 450. He was a big dude. It would be easy for me to get up to 400 pounds again if I ate like that. In the country, he worked in the woods, and my grandmother's favorite cousin, and never really had a pair of shoes. He used to wear moccasins, or what they call brogans. It was like a sole with a shoe that kind of wrapped around your foot. Just unbelievable. Like my family, when they used to talk about him, it was like Bigfoot. It was like they was telling you the stories about some monster that existed a long time ago. And they spoke with reverence when they talked about him. My grandmother used to say, Mark remind me so much of Chud, he just smaller. I'm 6'4", and 400 pounds, and she referred to me as smaller.
Was he able to get in any kind of sports or anything like that?
No, this was
known as the strongest man in the Piney Woods.
Yeah, this was he used to like pull logs and he was a logger.
Right. And
this was during it was the 30s. So, it was no opportunity for him to do anything other than just work. He wasn't educated. Never went to school, nothing like that. It was long before integration. It was, you're in the early 30s, just 30 years before that, it's slavery.
Yeah.
My grandmother, she used to talk about him, like with that reverence, but it was no opportunity for him to play any sports or anything. That didn't exist for black people.
So when you started, your mother bought you that weight set at 10. When had you started training prior? Because I know that they formed a powerlifting team around you at Silsbee High School, but what drove her to buy you that weight set? And when did you figure out that you would put on earth? I mean, I know like in fifth grade you was like, 225?
Yeah, I was pretty big, but I remember seeing the Olympics for the first time in 76. And there was a guy by the name Vasily Alexiev.
Oh, yeah, man.
And Alexiev was...
Big drum on him,
man,
strong as a house.
When he came on TV, it was like he was Muhammad Ali. Like, he didn't speak English, but they threw roses at him. Like, he was revered. And I told you, I'm externally motivated. Anything that looked like, wow, they respect that guy, like that's what I wanted to do. And I figured, you know what, I feel strong, I'm going to be like him. And I told my mom I wanted weights, and that was all spawned off. I'm like 6 or 7 years old. She like, you can't lift no weights, and I begged her from that time all the way until I was 11 when she bought those weights, and she was like, well, these your brother's weights, and, y'all can lift them together. Like, so my mom was always inclusive. She like, look, y'all doing this together. But it was me that was begging for them. And that's all we did. Like, some kids go out and ride bikes. Me and my brother, we went and lift weights. And all the kids in the neighborhood used to come to our front yard. We be out there lifting weights, man.
What kind of weight set did you get? Because I remember back
DP for life. Yep. They was concrete.
Concrete and the plastic gimmick,
and
right?
Yeah, with the little plastic coat.
Bar.
Yep, little bitty tiny bar. We bent that bar, and we ended up using a pipe, like a real thick metal pipe, kind of like just a little bit bigger than rebar. And it's kind of what they call cold roll. Mm-hmm. And so we lifted with that. And that thing itself was probably 30, 40 pounds, just a piece of metal. I had never done, the only way that you could do a squat is if you did a good morning, because it was a bench press that the rack was on, and it only went up to a certain height. So we would do a good morning, and then we'd do squats. We copy everything we saw on TV.
Yep.
During that time, they had the world's strongest man, and this guy, Bill Kazmaier. They used to throw rocks and, lift logs and different stuff, and that's what I did. anything that looked remotely challenging, I tried to replicate it in my backyard. There was a show that used to come on at noon called Body Shaping with Corey Everson. And I met
all the same stuff.
I met Corey Everson. She got inducted into the International Sports Hall of Fame like 4 years ago. And I was there. And I told her, I said, I want you to know this because a lot of people don't. The reason that I am who I am today is because I watched Body Shape and I copied everything y'all did. And I used to do it in my backyard and in my front yard. And she just laughed and cried and laughed and cried and told me that was one of the sweetest things that she had ever heard. And I was very congratulatory for her because she was one of the pioneers for women lifting. And they used to call people muscle bound and used to say that women look like men and all that stuff when lifting weights. And she had to endure all of that. And I idolized her. And I learned a lot of my technique from watching Body Shaping.
How did you strike upon a relationship with Terry Todd? Because he was a kinesiology professor at University of Texas. Mm-hmm. I followed his weightlifting career probably as long as you did. Then he becomes, a mentor for you.
Yeah, like my dad.
You lost your father at a young age. And why were you able, or how, and I guess you're going to say it's athletic ability, because most highly successful powerlifters don't make the transition to the Olympic lifts.
How I met Terry actually came to Silsbee to see me lift because he had heard that this 15-year-old kid had squatted 700 pounds and deadlifted 700 pounds. He's like, there's no way that's humanly possible without drugs. He's like, and that's bullshit. Like, somebody need to go down there and get them people in line. And he came to Silsbee with the intent on taking people to task over harming some kid. He didn't know me.
That's unbelievable.
He had no idea who I was. And he came down, and it was just God's work that his wife, Terry, and his wife, Jan, sat next to my coach's wife in the audience. They sat right next to him. And he was like, I can't wait for this to see this kid lift. And she was like, "Oh, Mark, that's him right down there." They was like, "Oh, you know him?" He was like, "Yeah, that's my husband is his coach." And he was like, "So
that's great.
Is he how much drugs is he taking?" Kind of poking the bear. "Oh no, Mark is not taking any drugs." It's like, his mom is sitting right over there. Like, you can go talk to her. That's his mom, Barbara Jean, right there, sitting on the front. And Jan went and talked to my mom, and Terry stayed there and talked to her. They was getting cross information. And then after the competition, my mom told me to come here, and she said, "Hey, this is the strongest woman in the world," because Jan had talked to my mom for hours. And they came down here to see you lift. They got to see you lift. And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Jan straight out asked me. She was like, "Mark, you never took any drugs before, have you?" And I was like, "Drugs? I had no idea. I didn't even know people took drugs, like, for lifting. Like, I know you take when you go to the hospital to get sick or something like that, some aspirin or something." And that was the extent of medicine for enhancement. I had no clue. They was like, "So you never did any drugs?" And I was like, "No." And then she talked to the coaches, and they was like, got all of us together, and we went to eat a little place in Silsbee at Blue Bonnet Inn. There was no big restaurants. There's only 3,000 people there. Everybody know everybody. And we sat and talked, and Terry, that was the first time that I'd ever heard somebody talk about me with reverence. And Terry said that, "Miss Barbara Jean, I just want to let you know I've been in and around the world of physical culture since the 60s, since the 50s. There's never been another human born like your son. Like, Mark is different. Like, if he never took any drugs, what he's doing is impossible." And
that's a heavy statement.
It's heavy, man. It's heavy for a kid to hear somebody talk about them. And Terry said that, so you're like everything age appropriate, like, he's 15. Yes. No drugs. Yes. and he's been training under the supervision of, the junior high coaches, and that's his coach right there. And like, that was it. So when I came into my sophomore year, and we got a team, like, I was it. There was nobody else on the team. And they started raising money in the town. They went to the city of Silsbee and said, hey, we need to buy some weights for the high school. So all of in the 8th grade and 9th grade, I was lifting more than my brother, who was the strongest kid at the school. And he had worked out with me every day from the beginning. And he used to tell people, hey, my little brother's stronger than me. And
which is something you never want to do.
You never want to hear that, like, my little brother's stronger than me. So we trained together, and even when my brother went and played football at A&M, his nickname was Shorty. But it was short for Shorty Strong because he had a 650 squat, 650 deadlift, and 400-pound bench. Like, I come from strong people.
Yeah.
And some of it is genetic, but it's also the fact that that's just how we worked. It was nothing else to do in my town. It was either go to the park and play basketball, softball or something, or lift weights. And everything was structured around getting ready to play football. I was a better than average football player. But once I found out that I was special in the lifting and throwing the discus and shot put, football was second thought to me. It was like, man, I won the junior worlds. I was the strongest kid in the world. Little boy from Silsbee. By then, Sports Illustrated got a hold of it. They had this article called Teenage Mastodon in Sports Illustrated, and they start chronicling all the numbers that I put up and my improvement every year up until my senior year in high school. And once I got to plus 800 pounds in the squat, then I was on the world landscape. Like, people like Magic Johnson were commenting, knew who I was and stuff like that. So I had worldwide notoriety, and I'm just a little country boy from Silsbee. It was my powerlifting career is the one that launched me into the world of sports.
Let's talk about Huel. Not fuel, Huel. Although it is like fuel, Huel are complete meals for your body. Not fuel, Huel. Huel has a couple of different things for you today. One is their Black Edition, ready to drink, chocolate and peanut butter flavored. This bad boy is 35 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no added sugar, gluten-free, and at under $5 a meal, this bad boy is ready to go. Next up is their Daily Greens, 3 different flavors. Peach and hibiscus, blueberry, lemon, and thyme, or apple, cucumber, and mint. What time is it? Blueberry, lemon, and thyme time. That's what time it is. So whether you're into your fitness, you travel a lot, or you're just a busy professional with early mornings like me, Huel makes healthy eating simple. They also just launched into Target stores nationwide, so you can try both their products today with 15% off your purchase for new customers with my exclusive code STEVE at www.huel.com/Steve. Use my code STEVE and fill out the post-checkout survey to help support the show. That's www.huel.com/Steve.
I was watching a thing on YouTube explaining to what's the wheel, the Apollo wheel.
The Apollon's wheels. Adolf Apollon was a lift in the 1800s, and he lifted a train axle. And a train axle, trains were not what they are today. When we say a train, it's like a car in the 1900s, 1800s, was not what the car is today. A car weighed 5,000, 6,000 pounds. A car weighed about 500 pounds back then. This little trolley train axle was 386 pounds. The handle on it was 3.5 inches in diameter, and it was fixed. It didn't rotate like a Olympic bar or weightlifting bar you would go see in the gym. And he apparently lifted this, which to Terry Tides was thought it was all bullshit. He just said he lifted that. There's no way he lifted that. But anyway it go, it was a lift. people used to try it all the time. And then there was an American lifter named Norbert Szymanski and John Davis, both Olympians and world champions. They both lifted it. And now it becomes the standard of strongman feats. 2002, I came out of retirement and I went and competed in the Arnold Classic World's Strongest Man.
And this is what I'm getting at.
And I lifted it 3 times. And
Dude, you just lifted it. It was so explosive when you cleaned it or snatched it. It was unbelievable. It was frightening how fast that thing came off the ground. It's a shoot. Because you got to understand, when we're talking about this bar, I got pretty big hands. And you're
bigger than a water bottle.
Yeah, so you can't wrap your hands all the way around it. And it's 386, give or take, whatever. Let's call it 400. But just the way that thing come off the ground, and the dude that just come off before you had struggled with it.
Everybody did.
Everybody did. And then all of a sudden, because this is when you was making your comeback, because everybody's saying, "Hey, you're calling yourself the world's strongest man, but you ain't done nothing."
Yeah,
else.
you ain't do nothing. How can
so I'll let you tell the story, but I just want to say, dude, how it exploded. You could see the guys are trying to no-sell it behind you, but if you watch that film back, these guys are thinking, "Holy shit, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" Tell us about it.
So during that time, I was failing in wrestling. I had just got back from Canada. I had just got back from Louisville. I had started to wrestle and had got into the nation and started to get my footing, and things was looking good. And I was happy with my life, and then all of a sudden the rug get pulled out from under me because, they was like, "We got the world's strongest man," and this. And there was a couple of guys who I'm not going to mention their names because I wouldn't give them life if they was on life support, started saying I shouldn't be calling myself the world's strongest man because that's how they make their living. And I wasn't the world's strongest man because I didn't compete against the world's strongest men. And there was some truth to that. But I was giving more attention to lifting, being in the world landscape of pro wrestling, than anybody that was in the sport.
Yeah.
And rather than bash me, it would have came across better if they was like, "Hey man, you should come to a competition and show people who you are in both worlds." That didn't happen.
They trash talked you.
They trash talked me. So now I'm angry.
Well, they messed up.
And I told Terry Todd, I said, "Hey man, I want to come out of retirement." And he was like, "I don't know if Vince gonna like that too much. They paying you to wrestle. You should just do that." Unbeknownst to Terry, I go to Vince. I say, "Hey man, I can't sleep at night knowing that people say that I shouldn't call myself the world's strongest man." And Vince
That's
said,
how much of a shoot it was for you.
That's how much it was for me. It was real to me. Yeah. It was me. It was my identity.
Yes.
I'm not Superman no more. Come on. I couldn't sleep. I literally could not go to bed. And I told Vince, I was like, "I got to go and beat these dudes." And he was like, "Can you beat them?" And I almost cussed at him. I was like, "You doubting me too?" Like, it was like, I'm crazy, Steve.
Yeah, I get you.
I can't help it.
You got to be here to feel the intensity when he looks at you.
I said, I'll beat him. And he said, "You know what? If you want to do it, go ahead and do it." He said, "But I'm going to tell you now, if you get beat," he's like, "there's no place for the world's second strongest man." He said, like, you win and because your career depends on it. And I don't know if a lot of athletes would have even done that if they was making the money that I was making a year. And to say, "You know what? I'm going to go take a chance on this." It wasn't a chance to me. I wasn't taking a chance.
Really?
It was me going and proving who I was. It was me taking the glasses off, taking the cape off, and saying, "Hey, I'm not Clark Kent. I'm Mark Henry." And those guys found out exactly who I was. And I retired from, strongman the next day. I went for one competition to prove and let everybody know who I was, and I went back to wrestling, and it was the best thing because it was like a shot in the arm. It was like, Mark Henry is truly the strongest human being on earth. And that is what took me to the next level in wrestling.
I got two questions before we go there, because I want to go there. When you proved that you were the world's strongest man, then what did those guys say to you?
Then they was like, Mark, you are the man. Like, I never seen nothing like you. It's the strongman world is a brotherhood, just like wrestling. We might disagree with each other and we might have beef with each other. But if it's us against them, they finna get their ass kicked. And that's the same way it is in strongman. I've loved strongman, but I don't think that the world of strongman loved me back. And I had to get away from it. I don't think people got drug tested the way they should get drug tested. And I was the guy that was always like, hey, you drug test me any day of the week.
Yeah.
Twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't care. And I got took up on it. In 96, during the Olympics, I said that. And I got drug tested 23 times in one calendar year. In 12 months, I had 23 drug tests. There ain't another human being that ever walked the planet, athlete, that got drug tested as much as I did.
And I believe you through all your tests that you passed for a shoot. I know you're 100% drug-free when a lot of people say they are, but they're not, or they do a cycle, they get off so they can test clean.
Mm-hmm.
I flat out 100% believe you. End of story. Moving on, you keep bringing up your talks with Vince. And when he gave you the first call and you go down to Stanford, y'all come up with a 10-year deal, and then you're doing some things wrong. You go over to Canada. You go down to Ohio Valley, what's it called?
Louisville, Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Yeah. And, hey, man, you got to get your attitude right. And then you want to go prove yourself to be the strongest man again. You're always in there talking to Vince. Now, 20 years later, a little bit more than that, but you know the man over 20 years. Tell me about your relationship with that guy, how it's developed, and what he's meant to you. Because I watched that special, one of the things I was watching that WWE Network did on you, and he's there with you when you're doing the sexual chocolate stuff, and he's getting you to come into your own. And we'll get there when we come back from, the Hall of Pain and more stuff like that. But what is your relationship with that man? Because it's a very complex thing, and you once went in to retire. He got 5 more years out of you, but there's got to be a lot of trust and respect there. You tell me, dude.
There's a lot of trust and a lot of respect with Vince, because Vince always was a straight shooter with me. He never. I hear these stories about him double talking people. And he never did that to me. And there was a time, to just put in perspective, Vince had we always talked about his fashion sense. And I think Vince realized that I was kind of off a long time ago, but he had these shoes and he was like, I know you like these. These are stylish. And I was like, they look like clown shoes. And he was like, what do you mean they look like clown shoes? He was like, you can't talk to me like that. You're not afraid of me? And I said, you can't whoop me. What I'm going to be afraid of you for? And he just started laughing. He was like, that's why I like you. He respected me as a man. And he knew I wasn't no punk, that I wasn't going to be wishy-washy. I was going to hide how I felt or nothing like that. If I had a disagreement with him, when I came in his office, what's wrong? Because he could see it. I'm pretty self-explanatory for people that are listening. Like, I'm not a liar. I can't hide behind something. If I feel a certain way and you're around me, you automatically feel it too. That's just the way God made me. And he knew when I walked in his office, and there's a level of love and respect that he and I have for each other. And he has told me he loves me. I've told him I love him back. And more than anything, I respect what I've learned from him. And a lot of people in power hide knowledge. Knowledge is the key to unlocking anything that remotely is possible for any human, regardless of what color, creed, religion, sexual orientation. Knowledge and teaching is the key. He didn't have to teach me the understanding of pro wrestling. He did. And I provide for my family based off what I've learned from this human being. And I had people offer me more money during that time of the wars. And I didn't take it. I was loyal because he was the one that got me into wrestling. And that was where I was going to stay. And he knew that because I told him. It's not like giving no leverage. Hey, man, they offered me some more money. I didn't tell him because I wanted them to up my pay. I told him because I'm not going. Good talk. Let's be out. And that was it. So he knows who I am as opposed to what anybody else would say. And we fought. We've argued. And he's had to tell me, hey, that's not smart. And I was like, well, you didn't have to tell me I wasn't smart. You could have told me. And he's like, but that wouldn't be me being honest. You've had conversations with Vince. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
He's telling you the truth from his perspective. It might not be gentle and coddling, but he's telling you his truth. And if you feel like he's wrong, then prove it to him. Tell him where he's wrong. He's not going to fire you or bitch and moan at you because you proved him wrong. He wants you to. If he's wrong, tell him, hey, man, you wrong. This is where you're wrong. And then he'll go, oh, okay, well, let's fix that. It's that simple. But people are afraid of him. And I'm going to tell you right now, he will resent you. He'll hear this. I know he's going to hear this. He will resent you if he can't trust you to be a man of your word and your character.
Agreed.
Hey, this is Adam Carolla from the Adam Carolla Show. Bet Online continues to be your number one source for all your football betting action. Bet Online has more ways to get in and stay in on action. With the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting. From every NFL and college game to MLB, UFC, and NHL. Futures as well. BetOnline remains your choice for sports wagering info. Head to the website today and take advantage of their industry-leading VIP program with level-up bonuses and weekly cash boosts. In between games, head over to BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline. The game starts here.
And I'm not going to say everything because I know he's real private, but I'm just saying there's a certain level of respect that I have for somebody that's going to give me the whole truth and nothing but the truth. When I was wrong, he told me I was wrong. My wife is the only other person on this planet that's able to look me in my face and say, Mark, you're wrong. This is what I said. Get out of your own head, and how do you come up with a solution? Them the only two people that's able to tell me, and me drop everything and listen to what they saying.
So a great relationship exists. I was just in there talking with your buddies on their show, and I told them, I kind of, along the same, you have a very deep relationship with the guy, you've known him forever. I told those guys over there, I said, man, just as far as learning, I learned more from working for Vince McMahon than I did in 5 years of college. You know, just about anything and everything.
Business, especially.
And life. And at times, when you look at it, you know, he's been either the father figure, brother, mentor, just shrink, psychologist, psychiatrist for how many guys?
When I was mad at my wife, Vince was the one that was like, hey, you married, you got married, you do what she said. Ultimately, she's right. Even when she's wrong, she's right. He said that to me. You look at stuff from how it benefits you. Think about how it benefits everybody else. It's like, man, stop shooting. Stop telling me the truth. I don't want the truth. You're supposed to be on my side. I'm not on nobody's side. I'm on the side of truth.
Let's talk about, and I know you don't have all day, and I appreciate the time you've given me, but let's talk about maybe it was in that 2002 period when you came back. You were a house of fire. I guess my question to you is, maybe it was all fun to you. Did you like working heel or baby more? One of the things, my takeaway is going back to your high school powerlifting days, when they had the cameras rolling, man, you were hamming it up and, high energy. And that goes hand in hand with weightlifting, but it also goes hand in hand with our business and passion and emotions. And I say emotions sell tickets. You've always been, that kind of guy. But when you finally found your way, okay, the simple question, heel or baby?
Heel. Because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that as nice as I was, that I was controlled by my feelings. You can make me angry, but you are not allowed to hurt my feelings. If you hurt my feelings and you get on the bad side of me, I already have a hole dug with bags of lime around it for the person to hurt my feelings. I'm not shitting you one bit. You hurt my family, you hurt my soul, my feelings. Like if you have to go, you have to go at that point, honestly. I've never screwed nobody over. Ain't nobody can say, Mark Henry, man, he screwed me out of my money, he lied to me. Nobody. On a couple occasions, I lied to my wife. She knew I was lying when I said it because I'm not a good liar. And when you have to apologize because you did something stupid or wrong, it's hurtful to your feelings because you got caught more than because you did something wrong. And that's the stuff that has made me the man that I am, is I've evolved from worrying about how I see stuff as a part to how everything that I do affects everybody else. I'm an everybody else dude now. But my feelings is what is not allowed to be hurt. I don't get angry very much because I can't. Because,
it's not
a good place for me. Anger is not a good place for me.
But what about that period when you were in the WWE? Was it coming back from a strongman stuff, or was it a couple of years later? But you said there was hatred there. I think it was you didn't feel like you were appreciated by the WWE audience. And you just said that you weren't appreciated by the strongman community. You had to go back, and you was angry about that and prove them wrong. And so was it the underappreciation that brought out the hatred?
It was. See,
it was like, hey, man, what I got to do to get some appreciation here? I'm
exactly
my ass off every
I'm killing myself for y'all. I'm killing myself for y'all, and you boo me. And the same thing happened with Dwayne. Rocky Sucks was real. They hated Rocky Maivia. They thought he was soft. They thought he didn't work tight enough. They thought that it was hokey. And Dwayne hated it. And you could see it in his face, in his demeanor. He hated his hair. He hated everything about it. He loved his culture, and he felt like it was pissing on his culture for him to dress like that and not really be that. Hated it. I felt the same identical way with how the fans relate. I was out there killing myself. I'm absorbing other people's energy. I was the guy that caught everybody. 200. I pressed Vader when he was 400 pounds. It hurt my shoulders, but I did it. There was things that I did that hurt so bad that for somebody to boo, I was like, the same guy that had the conversation a few weeks ago on Busted Open about Undertaker Goldberg match. How angry I got at the fans for them having the audacity to go on social media and say that that was horrible or they messed up or whatever. I was like, you don't respect these people? So the character from 2009 to 2013, the Hall of Pain era, was me hating the fans. It was me being honest with how I felt about the way that I was portraying. Vince got me to portray how I truly felt. And I told him I didn't want to do it because I didn't want people to see me hate. I didn't want people to see me angry like that because I was basically being what people thought I was anyway, if that makes any sense to you. because, you know, I'm a 6'4", 330 pound black dude. And I walk down the street and women change their purse to the other side. They move to the other side of the street. Like I'm going to eat somebody.
Yeah.
I'm a human being. And I didn't want to perpetuate a negative. I wanted to try to transcend the negative. And I realized that Vince was right, that I needed to scare everybody. And he played a practical joke on me to prove the point, to make me angry. And I was in Des Moines, and he ribbed everybody, but he did it specifically to unlock the monster in me, I guess, the way he described it. I had a match against Sin Cara, and I'm out there first. The music plays, no Sin Cara. They play the music again, no Sin Cara. I look at the referee, Scott Armstrong, and I said, man, what's going on? I think he retaping his knee or something. I don't know. He's like, Mark, I just don't know. Then somebody else's music plays. Then they play Rey Mysterio music. Then they play Vader. It's Vader. Vader has been retired from wrestling for like 6 years, 8 years at this point. And now I'm angry. I realize I'm being ribbed. And I say, you know what? The rib is on y'all. I'm not going nowhere. I get the microphone and I start talking about how I hate everybody.
This shoot?
Shoot. You bring me out here and embarrass me in front of all these people. It's a dark match. And I was like, you know what? It's funny. Y'all probably back there laughing, ha. I said, let's see if you laugh when I get back there. And now I'm coming out of the ring and I go to Gorilla. It's ghost town.
Damn.
It ain't nobody back there. And I just start kicking and knocking shit over. I run to Vince's office. He gone. He in the limo. He on the way to the airfield. And I called him and I cussed his ass out. And I said, you wait till I see you. You're going to have to see me eventually. And I'm angry to the point to where I didn't care. I called my wife. I said, I'm done. No more for me. They done messed with me for the last time. Vince called me in the next week, and he was like, Big Mark, you coming to work? And I was like, no, I'm not coming to work. I was like, you didn't answer me last week when I called you. He's like, I just wanted you to calm down. I was like, Vince, you hurt my feelings. I was like, nobody's allowed to hurt my feelings. Nobody, not you, not nobody. And he said, well, that wasn't my intention. I wasn't trying to hurt your feelings. I was trying to make you mad. I was trying to kick you in the ass. And I was like, I don't understand that. I was like, you have to explain different to me. He said, I want you to come to Baltimore. I missed TV. I didn't go to Raw. So I flew to Baltimore for SmackDown. And we sat there in his office, and he said, he leaned forward, pulled his glasses down, and he was like, you were really mad. He said, oh, my God. He said, I want you to see something. And he called the people in the truck, and he said, hey, play that footage from last week. And he's kind of leaning forward, and he kind of smiling at me, half-ass smiling. And I'm looking at him, the sound comes on, I look at the monitor, and it's me, but I don't even recognize it. I don't even recognize that's me. I was angry. I was walking. I was pacing. That wasn't me. That was a monster. That was a mean person. That was somebody. I was stomping mad. I ain't never stomped mad like a little kid. I never in my life did that. That was probably the maddest I had ever been in my life. And he said, if you can be that guy, you can make a lot of money, which means that the business will be better and we all will make a lot of money. And I said, I can't control that. He said, yes, you can. You can control it. I'm going to help you control it. And he did. Hall of Pain era.
But that was just taking a shoot and working with it.
Yeah. 4 best years of my career and put me in the Hall of Fame.
But when you look back at it, and all I got is a recorder going, but I can see the emotion. I can feel the emotion coming out of you. But that was taken. I get what he was trying to do when he showed you the footage. But when you look back at that and you're like, yeah, he ribbed you or he made you mad. But when you saw it, It's taking a shoot, but trying to work it.
Yeah.
And riding really a fine line of a little of both, because I believed everything I did out there, but
I did at that point, and I had to control it.
Right.
Which was the biggest part of me not thinking I could. And I didn't want to perpetuate that.
And then with the understanding of when I looked at that and what you just told me, it's that was the intensity that he needed out of you.
Yeah.
And not about.
But that's what coaches do.
Yes.
That's what coaches do.
Yeah.
They push your buttons, they get you to respond, and they win championships. I guarantee you that there are guys that have been coached by Belichick and Popovich, Pat Riley, and the list of great coaches that you hear about. They didn't always do it kindly.
Right.
Because it probably was different. Some people you pat on the back, say, look, I need you to do this right there. And you might get it out of them. But for me, it took for me to be angry and to see what that felt like again. It'd been a long time since I felt like hate and anger. That's why I do my best not to let myself get angry, because it's hard for me to control that.
But once you've been in the business as long as you have, for that light to go on like that after that many years, it's like, it's a wake-up call, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, man, I've been doing this. And you wanted the crowd's respect, but now this is that moment when you do the Hall of Pain run and put you in the Hall of Fame, you found the money. You was making money, but this is the real money. Drawing.
Yeah.
So
you're drawing for the business, and your name is on the posters, and people are coming to see you get a whooping. People wanted to see me get a whooping, and I'm like, who gonna give it to me? Was my mentality. It's like, you came to see me get a whooping? Now every week I had to change the narrative to stay angry. And I remember my son, Jacob, Dad, you know that kids ask me at school, are you mean like that to us? He said, no, man, my dad's nice, man. You can go. I remember that like it was yesterday. And I just started laughing, because perception is reality. What people perceive you as is almost like people saying, hey, this is the exact truth. That's what people gonna believe, is the perception. Like it's real, which is a wonderful thing in pro wrestling, because it creates suspended belief. And in the comic books that people write about Batman and Superman and Iron Man and all of these characters, they write it. In wrestling, you perform it. There's no smoke. There's no strings that tie you to fly. When you fly, you fly. X-Pac, when he flew, he flew. When I wrestled Daniel Bryan and he flew, he actually flew. And Rey Mysterio, they flew because I told them, as long as I got a breath in my body, you're going to have a place to land. Trust me, I'm not going to let you crash and burn. The big guys, when we collided, we collided. I'm not going to cry that you hit me too hard. I can take it. Let's go. I got the main event with The Undertaker off the fact that there was nobody in the business that could put him in jeopardy except me. It was a great, great feeling. Those 4 to 5 years, did a lot. And at the end, I was still Mark Henry, but I was tagging, wearing red with MVP, and I would go and do this sometimes, and I would go back and forth. And at the end, it was like it was time for me to go.
Before it's time to go, and before we go, I think it was September 2013 when you won your world championship.
Yeah.
From Randy Orton.
Yeah.
What did that mean to you?
I can never thank Randy enough, because you're only as good as who you work with. Randy's damn good, as you know. Very easy, but I beat somebody to become champion. And that's what was even more impressive to the people that I was allowing to see the monster, that I was allowing to see the hate. It was for the fans. And I started to realize that I was not just entertaining them, but I was actually working for them. They needed somebody to hate, and I gave them that. And a lot of people played a part in getting them that entertainment. But ultimately, it came down to me being able to go and do that. And I took a lot of pride in the fact that leading up into winning the world championship from Randy, I beat Batista, I beat Big Show, I beat Rey Mysterio, I beat Daniel Bryan. I beat about 7 Hall of Famers in about a 9-month span, back to back to back to back. I got built. I did the work, but it was a build, and my win, it was on the backs of the guys that helped build me. The stuff that Big Show and Kane did, even the guys that were enhancement talent, there was a guy, Robert, he was a soundboard operator guy, and I don't know if people remember it, but he was standing up there, and I went up there, and I knocked all the stuff down, and I grabbed him, and I told him, I said, man, I'm gonna be charged up, and when I'm energized like that, I'm strong. I'm gonna try to throw you as flat and safe as I can. I was like, put your chin to your chest and just go. And I remember looking back at it. I knew where the padding was that I was throwing him. It was about 8 feet away from me. And I told him to move it out further because when I get charged, I'm going to be stronger. And I threw him with a 1/2 step and throw, and he went exactly 12 feet. Almost a free throw distance.
Yeah.
3 feet from being from a free throw line to a basket. And I challenge anybody to go grab a 190-pound dude and throw him that far. I couldn't do that when I wasn't charged.
Right.
So that's one of the God-given gifts that I was able to channel my power. And luckily I was able to use it the right way. I didn't end up, doing something stupid and ending up locked up for my rest of my life.
But what did meaning, you talk about Randy, but what did meaning the world championship mean to you on a personal level or professional level for that?
Validation is the ultimate word. It means that Vince trusted me with the company to be the champion, to be there every day, to make every show, to do every pre-tape, to start the show, to finish the show, do all the pre-tapes and stuff in between, wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to the radio station, go do the live TV feed, go to the children's hospital, and then come to the building at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, knowing I'm going to be in opening the show, be in a pre-main or main event, and then do the dark match. People don't realize how much goes into being champion. There's a lot of reasons why championship title runs are usually short, because it's hard to maintain that over a 2 or 3 year period. When you see a guy like you that was able to carry the title for 2 or 3 years in a row, I don't know how in the hell you did it. And Dwayne and Ric Flair, Undertaker, I don't know how they did it. I don't know how y'all did it. I did it for 4 years. Y'all did it for like 15 years and consecutive years. I had breaks in between my titles. But that
validation you speak of, I mean, it's what you wanted from the weightlifters, the strongman. You got it from the crowd. And when you got it from the old man, from the company, I mean, that was
the ultimate stamp.
And obviously, Hall of Fame is going to go right there as well.
Yeah.
Validation, which is what it seemed like
that's what I worked for
that.
Yeah. I want to be,
validation stamp.
I got the validation, and holding that championship over my head, pretty damn sweet. Next to my kids being born, I don't know if I've ever felt a more prideful and accomplished feeling. People say, man, you went to the Olympic Games, you won world championships, and I did that by myself to an extent with my body, but with wrestling, it was a lot of moving parts. And for all of them stars to align and for that to happen, it was a lot of work, but it was so worth it.
People get in passing saying, it's work. It's work. But blow it off as work. It's champions work. The business might be a work, but there are certain things that are shoot, and there's a reason behind why a particular decision is made, and it's for all the things you just stated. So to echo off what you just said, holding that damn thing up, man, when I got a chance to hold that summit up on 6 different occasions, or the IC or whatever it was,
it was validation.
Damn right, that's what
for your work
for.
And for your level of intelligence. Yeah. You ain't never going to be proud if you ain't proud of being champion, because it's funny that all the times that I've been interviewed, one, I've never talked about Vince. I can't believe that all of that came out. But I've also never factored all of the things together when all I was doing was looking for validation. I was looking for people to give me my just due. And if I didn't get it, my feelings got hurt, which is ultimately the worst thing that can happen to me, because it's going to make me go to the gym for 5 hours a day until I win. And I've had my validation, like, in everything that I've ever done. And it didn't all make me millions and millions of dollars. Wrestling did really good by me. And my kids are going to go to good schools, and they're exposed to a world that they probably would have never been otherwise, because the other sports that I did, powerlifting, weightlifting, and strongman, there's not millions of dollars to be made in those sports. I did it out of love. And all I wanted was them sports and to love me back. And, like, that's what I got from wrestling. I got wrestling love me back.
You're in the Hall of Fame. Your wife just called. You got to pick your son up. You gave me 2 hours out of your day. Got to do your show. Thanks for having me on your show. Thank you for giving me so much time. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing, or something that we didn't cover that you would like to cover, or are we good here?
The main thing is I'm going to say this about you, as far as all of the guys that I've been around in my wrestling career. Me and D-Lo had the most fun with you. And we always joke around and stuff, and D-Lo would be like, man, Mark, I can't leave the building. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Let's go. And he's like, I didn't take a stunner today. And I'm like, get out of here, man. Let's go. And he's like, no, serious. Come on, let's go take a stunner. Because we both marks. Me literally and him figuratively. Yeah. And we would always come and we would massage your shoulder, like, put the chin in. And he's, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it.
I would be somewhere in the building, and I'd be talking to somebody, and Mark or Dilo would come from behind me, and they'd start giving me the karate chops on my right trap, like they're getting me ready, because that's where they're going to place their chin to take a stunner. And I'd work it, and I'd say, not yet. And they start massaging my trap, and cinch their chin down. I say, yeah, it feels good. And I'd jump up and down and land on my feet, but it'd be a gimmick stunner in the dressing room. I don't know how many times you still do that to me to this day.
Still to this day. Like D-Lo.
I don't even know you're in the building, and someone sneak up behind me and start tapping me on the trap. I said, I know it's Mark Henry, stunner.
And me and D-Lo, we was together at an appearance the other day in Richmond, Virginia. We had a conversation about that, like how much fun it was to be around the business during the Attitude Era, and even now being older guys and having a relationship with somebody that's, on the Mount Rushmore wrestling. And I don't know if you said that it's like you can't see the forest for the trees, and like you get inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2009, and you don't always give yourself that validation that we were just talking about. And I hope that you are able to do that, because, like, you were special to the business. There ain't been many. I mean, all of us had played our role, as Ron said. Know your role. We all had our role, but there's only one Mount Rushmore. There's only one top 10. and people's top 10 varies according to who they love the most or who had the most influence on them or whatever. But I've never heard a top 10 that didn't have you in it. That's crazy. That's where it's at, man. I'm proud to know you.
Thank you very much. And now I guess when you put it like that, now I know how all of your weightlifting achievements, because you're on top 10 everything. So I never thought about it like that, but I never blow smoke up my ass. My mama told me a long time ago, man, they always asked me, said, man, because most people say I was kind of always the same guy at the end that I was in the beginning. And I always been a little crazy too. But my mom always said, man, the way we was raised, he goes, I don't care what you do, don't you ever get a big head.
Yeah.
We kept everything in perspective. And she said, as soon as you get something, it can be taken from you. And I got proven to me when I got dropped on my head. You go from being the hottest thing on 2 feet to on the sideline. Shit, so I kept everything in perspective. But I ain't going to sit here and blow smoke up my ass. I got to say, last night I was sitting in my hotel. This was a short notice on this podcast. I'm honored to talk to you. And I was like, after I started trying to research, I said, I cannot do Mark a disservice by not having studied everything that he's done, but he's done so much. I'm just going to do the best I can. This has to be, and I'm telling you like it is, this is probably one of the favorite podcasts I've ever done. To sit across from you and feel, I'm a feel guy, to feel what I felt when you're talking and to hear some of the knowledge that you dropped. I hope everybody listening to this bitch enjoys it as much as I did doing it. So, thank you.
I appreciate you, Steve.
All right, everybody, give me the go-home cue, so I'm going to wrap up this podcast and ride off in sunset. But before I do that, I want to thank my guest, Mark Henry, World's Strongest Man and WWE Hall of Famer, for having me down there at the iHeart Studios where he does his morning radio show, Busted Open. I believe they are #1 on the airwaves 5 days a week, so check out their show. Always talking about everything pro wrestling and always putting a good spin on the business. I had a fantastic time hanging out with Mark, and like I said, I could have talked to the man all day. He's got stories for days, and he comes from the heart. And Mark is the real deal. If things ever go bad, I want Mark on my side. So thank you, Mark, for helping me out. No, I never got a chance to talk to Earl Campbell. I had my time frames messed up. He was not going to get back in town until Wednesday, and I left Saturday night after speaking with Mark and checking out those cars. So hopefully I get a chance to get down there and talk to Earl again, and maybe even Mark again, because I'd love to keep talking to him. Earl Campbell's one of my favorite running backs in the history of the sport of football, and that's the bottom line. If you missed my podcast last week, I talked with All Elite Wrestling President Tony Khan and had a fantastic conversation with him. I took a 6-month break from podcasting for various reasons. Maybe on the next show or the show after that, I'll have a bullshit session where I'll tell you, all the things that I've been up to and why I've been gone as long as I have been. One of the reasons I was gone, I filmed my new show for the USA Network, Straight Up Steve Austin. The season premiere is August 12th, and it will be on right after Monday Night Raw, so get ready to set your DVR. This show is where I hang out with some celebrity guests. We do some neat activities, get to know them, and have conversation. It's a 30-minute show. I appreciate the opportunity given to me by the USA Network. Hopefully enough people will watch this show so we can get season 2 out of it and continue raising hell and having a good time. Please check out Straight Up Steve Austin, August 12th for the season premiere after Monday Night Raw. Hey, don't forget to rate and review the Steve Austin Show on Apple Podcasts and tell your friends to check us out. And if you want to reach me here on the podcast, send an email to questions@steveaustinshow.com. Folks, I'm also in the beer business. I happen to have the formula for the best IPA on the planet. It is Broken Skull IPA from El Segundo Brewing Company. And you can get Broken Skull IPA at Whole Foods and Total Wines if you live in California, or you can have it shipped to you via the internet. But if you ain't in Cali, you might be SOL. If you're looking for a badass pocket knife, I have 2. The Cold Steel Broken Skull knife is a high-end, super sharp, unbelievable knife. And the working man's knife, high quality, cheaper price point. Find them at my Amazon store. Amazon has the best price of both knives. Or just go to Amazon.com facebook.com/shop/Steve Austin, or go directly to the Cold Steel Knives website and check out all their badass stuff. Folks, if I'm out in the woods, I will be riding the Kawasaki, and that's the bottom line. That's what I ride. I want to say one more thank you to all the fine sponsors of the Steve Austin Show, especially BetOnline.ag. They've been sticking with me for day one. That's how I'm able to do this podcast for you twice a week for free. Please support them because they support us. And if you need more info on my sponsors, check out the show description to this episode for details. Folks, until next time, I try to round up my next guest to open up a can of audio whoop ass. My name is Steve Austin, and I will catch your ass down the road.
This has been a PodcastOne production. Download new episodes of The Steve Austin Show every Tuesday at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.
This October, Fear is free on Pluto TV with horror movie collections from Paranormal Activity, The Ring,
You will die in 7 days.
Scream, and From Dusk Till Dawn.
This is my kind of place.
And don't miss the man-made nightmares in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein or the world-ending chaos in 28 Days Later.
There's something in the blood.
All the scares, all for free. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.